Most men have no idea what kind of compliments awaken the hidden desire in a woman. They repeat the same empty lines hoping for connection and never realize the power their words could hold. Because a real compliment isn't decoration. It's a trigger, a calculated signal that changes what she feels in the space between you. The right words shift her focus, slow her breath, and make her body respond before she even understands why. And I assure you, the majority of men never use these lines. They either shy away or simply don't know they exist. That's why when you do, the effect feels immediate and unforgettable. In this episode, we expose 8 compliments that change how she feels when you speak. The ones that bypass her logic and reach the part of her that reacts before thought. 8 compliments. 1 reality. Behavior never lies. Let's begin. Number 1. In your presence, something instantly rises. My mood. This line works because it uses tension as the message. It doesn't tell her what you feel. It lets her discover it. And discovery always hits harder than declaration. When you pause before the last word, mood, you invite her imagination into the space between what's said and what's implied. That pause does more than words could. It makes her mind race for a split second, guessing at your real meaning. The body follows the mind. Pulse quickens, breath slows, and attention locks on you. It's the psychology of suggestion. A small hint of desire activates her curiosity without setting off her guard. She senses attraction but also restraint, and that combination triggers trust and tension at the same time. It tells her you have control over yourself, and that control becomes the attraction. Tone and delivery are everything. Keep your voice calm, your gaze steady, and let the silence carry the weight. If you smile, it should look like you know something she doesn't. That ambiguity becomes the anchor memory. She'll replay it, trying to read you again. Used sparingly, this compliment becomes more than words. It's a moment she associates with emotional heat and composure, with a man who feels deeply but never loses control. And that's why it stays in her head long after the conversation ends. 2. There's so much passion in your eyes that I can hardly control my desire. This line works because it connects emotion with observation. When you talk about passion in her eyes, you're naming intensity that already exists. You're not creating it, you're revealing it. Eyes expose truth faster than words. When she looks at you, the micro-movements of her pupils, the slight change in breathing, show excitement that the conscious mind can't hide. By acknowledging that, you show awareness, a form of dominance that feels both safe and magnetic. The phrase "I can hardly control my desire" adds tension between instinct and discipline. You admit attraction, but you stay contained. That balance tells her you feel strongly, yet remain in command of yourself. It's not need, it's focus, and focus is rare. Deliver it slowly. Let your tone stay level, while your eyes hold hers. That contrast, calm words against charged meaning, creates the pull. She senses energy, but sees composure. Her mind keeps replaying the moment to understand how you stay so collected. Used with restraint, this compliment becomes memory. It signals awareness of emotion without surrendering to it. And that's the kind of presence that keeps you in her thoughts long after the conversation ends. 3. There's so much passion in your lips that it's impossible not to kiss you. This compliment works because it transfers power for a split second. Most people use flattery to get attention. This line makes her aware of the attention she already has. It's not about lips. It's about focus. The moment you describe them, she feels the spotlight move onto one small detail of herself. That micro-spotlight changes chemistry. When someone becomes the center of another person's observation, the brain releases dopamine. It's the same mechanism that fuels stage performance or first-date adrenaline. By naming that focus calmly, you create an emotional feedback loop. She realizes she affects you, and that realization affects her in return. It also reverses roles. For a heartbeat, she isn't the one judging attractiveness. She's the one being studied. That inversion builds intrigue because control quietly shifts from her to you. The key is precision. You don't lean in, you don't chase. You state it like a fact, then leave silence behind it. The absence of follow-up turns the compliment into an open circuit, one her mind keeps trying to close. That's why this line endures. It doesn't just make her feel seen, it makes her feel studied, and that's a different kind of intimacy. 4. It's the first time I've met a woman who's smart, beautiful, and sexy at the same time. This compliment works because it recognizes balance, not excess. Most flattery isolates one trait: beauty, humor, kindness. This one merges three qualities that rarely coexist in the same sentence. It signals discernment. You notice complexity, not surface. When you say it, you position yourself as an observer with standards. You're not impressed easily, and that scarcity gives your words weight. The compliment becomes validation she didn't expect, a statement that her mix of intellect, appearance, and sensuality is rare. The brain responds to rarity with value. It's the same mechanism that drives attraction to exclusivity. The phrasing also invites self-reflection. She measures herself against your description, searching for proof that it's true. That internal check keeps you in her thoughts long after the conversation ends. Delivery defines impact. Your tone should sound factual, almost analytical. No grin, no emphasis on sexy. Let calm certainty do the work. It communicates that you observe reality, not fantasy. Used once, this line separates you from every routine compliment she's ever heard. It's rare, and rarity always amplifies effect, because words that few men dare to use strike deeper. They sound original, measured, deliberate. That's why this compliment carries power above the rest. It's unexpected, and the unexpected is what she remembers. 5. When I look at you, my pants suddenly feel tight. At first glance, this line sounds too direct, even reckless. That's why it works, if you understand how to use it. Its power lies in contrast. You drop a line that hints at raw attraction, then you hold perfect composure. That clash between bold words and controlled body language confuses the usual pattern of interaction. Instead of taking it as vulgar, she registers confidence. A man who can acknowledge tension and stay absolutely calm inside it. The phrase is risky because it brushes against the border between humor and desire. Said with a smirk or nervous energy, it collapses. Said slowly, evenly, with steady eye contact, it lands as audacity. And audacity, when cleanly delivered, creates a quick spike of adrenaline in the listener. That spike is what makes the moment unforgettable. This line also tests perception. You show that you're not afraid of directness, yet you never push forward after saying it. You simply leave the silence to expand. That restraint reframes the entire remark from aggression to mastery. Because few men can carry such words without losing control, the effect is rare. Used once, at the right moment, it marks you as self-possessed. Someone who doesn't chase approval, but sets the tone. And rarity is what turns a bold statement into influence. 6. Teach me how to smile as beautifully as you do. This line works because it's simple, direct, and warm enough to disarm without sounding weak. It feels light, yet it lands deep. When you say it, she almost always smiles again. She understands exactly what it is, a compliment, but the wording makes it feel new. It's not about her looks, it's about the effect her presence has on you, and that awareness makes her feel seen in a way that's effortless. Simplicity is the secret here. You're not over-explaining, not trying to sound clever. The shorter the compliment, the truer it sounds. That's why it slips past her defenses and becomes genuine instead of strategic. Your tone matters. Calm, slightly amused, confident. You look at her, pause just long enough for her to wonder what's coming next, then say it. That pause sets the frame. The smile that follows seals it. Lines like this prove that not everything powerful has to be complicated. Sometimes the quietest sentence is the one that stays in her memory the longest. 7. Next to you, I feel ugly. This compliment works because it's playful, not pitiful. You sound like you're lowering yourself, but she instantly understands the subtext. You're telling her she looks exceptional. It's indirect praise delivered with control. When you say, next to you, I feel ugly, you aren't chasing approval. You're showing that you can tease yourself without losing presence. That confidence makes the line attractive, not humble. She hears admiration disguised as humor, and humor always lowers resistance. It makes her smile, maybe laugh, because she catches the meaning behind the words. That moment of shared understanding creates a small private space, just between you and her. Tone is everything. Say it with a calm grin, not a sigh. The grin tells her you know exactly what you're doing. It turns the phrase from insecurity into charm, from weakness into wit. Used once, it hits because it feels unscripted and real. It shows self-awareness, lightness, and confidence, all in one short line. And when a compliment hides strength behind humor, it becomes unforgettable. 8. You have such a body that it's hard to talk about serious things with you. This compliment works because it sounds honest, not rehearsed. You don't hide the effect she has on you. You frame it. It's the kind of line that catches her off guard. Simple words, heavy meaning. When you say it, you acknowledge the obvious, but keep your posture steady. No grin, no apology. That calm delivery tells her that you can look at desire straight on and still stay composed. That composure is the difference between confidence and chaos. The psychology is simple. Attention equals value. You're showing that her presence interrupts thought itself, that she changes the room. Most men pretend not to notice. You observe it out loud. That honesty feels like control, not weakness. She will almost always laugh or try to steer the topic back, and that's part of the dance. Her laughter is release. Your silence after it is dominance. You let the words hang. No follow-up, no rush to fill the space. You already said enough. This line works because it exposes the tension everyone feels, but no one names. It makes her aware of her own effect and, at the same time, of the man who can say it without flinching. That's why it stays in her mind long after the conversation ends. Now you understand what most never learn. Words aren't decoration, they're instruments. Used right, they don't just impress, they alter perception. Every compliment you heard tonight carries intent. Each one changes chemistry, focus, and control. That's why the ones who master them don't chase attention. They create it. So don't repeat lines. Use awareness. Observe. Adjust. Because this isn't about phrases. It's about presence. Now you know the truth. Don't just watch. Apply it. Because this is what you came for. Subscribe. And use the knowledge to get the final result.